With opinions of love, hate, and lust, Eren Yeager proves to be one of the most divisive husbandos in anime. But whether you're a fan or a critic, his popularity is undeniable. In today's video, we are going to discuss the glow-up, critique his controversial actions, and analyze the core of his character to determine why we love Eren. First things first, we've got to talk about Eren's evolution, his transformation, his glow-up. Who would have thought that a man bun, puberty, and a pinch of crippling depression could do so much for a guy's looks? I mean, Eren was never an unattractive character, but his appearance in Season 4 took the world by storm. Let's break it down. Eren's hair initiated the resurgence of the man bun, encouraging guys across the world to replicate its beauty, while also narrowing girls' dating pools due to the obsessive need to find their real-life, long-haired Eren Yeager look-alike boyfriend. And we can't talk about Eren's glow-up without acknowledging his rockin' bod. This man joined the 6 Foot Club in Season 4 and has the best 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pack I've ever seen. This next one probably only makes sense to anime fans, but we can't forget about the allure of his lifeless eyes. Jokes aside, seeing Eren's ambitious, bright eyes lose their light throughout the series is actually quite tragic. However, I do see the appeal at face value. There is an air of stoicism and confidence behind eyes like that, in anime at least. And finally, even within Season 4, Eren's appearance changes enough to fit a diverse set of needs. For example, Chad Eren is hot enough to make girls across the internet say, "Please step on me, daddy," because that's what people say when they're attracted to someone. Hobo Eren has the look of a man who will spit some philosophical wisdom at you if you approach him. Or in stereotypical hobo fashion, he might just spit on you in general. And frankly, there's one viewer out there right now thinking, yes, please. Past Eren looks near biblical, and the middle part hairstyle is glorious. And in the midst of writing the script, Cabin Eren comes in like, "I traveled 500 miles to give you my seed." Ah! And if guys are allowed to simp over Annie's female titan, then I think it's fair that girls get to simp over Eren's attack titan, because hot damn. All in all, between the luscious hair, chiseled body, incredible range, and his overall demeanor, Eren undeniably meets the criteria for a top-tier husbando. But as we know, a top-tier husbando can't be determined by looks alone, which leads us to our next discussion. There is no character in recent time that I can think of who is as divisive as Eren Yeager. You've got people who love him and will defend his actions to the day they die. You have people who hate him and view him as a genocidal maniac. And then you have people who fall somewhere in between. And that's where we fell for a long time. But after the release of the final episode, we can now express with confidence that we love Eren Yeager as a character. And here's why. First of all, Eren breaks the Shonen mold. Personally, I'm a big fan of the standard, upbeat, and morally sound shonen protagonist who pursues their dream without ever giving up. And I think it's natural to admire these heroic characters and their unwavering determination. But do you know what else I admire? Eren becoming the cold and calculated antagonist in his own story led to some of the most intense, unpredictable, and memorable moments in anime. Between the declaration of war, the plot twist of all plot twists, and the mother-flocking rumbling, I wouldn't have Eren's story go any other way. Like, just imagine for a second that we followed the timeline where Eren ran off with Mikasa to live out his remaining years in the cabin. It's like Light Yagami picking up the Death Note and returning it to the library, or watching Avengers Infinity War without the climactic snap. It's just not as exciting. But shock value alone doesn't define a good character. It's important that a character's actions make sense within their story and the world they occupy. And in Eren's case, he absolutely meets this standard. Despite Eren's actions being incredibly extreme, Attack on Titan's story makes them believable due to the cruelty of the world and the traumas Eren has endured. To provide some context, Eren witnessed his mother's brutal death at the hands of a Titan, was betrayed by friends he trusted, found himself powerless to protect his comrades in battle, was forced to eat his own father, witnessed his best friend burned to a crisp only to be revived with a drastically shortened lifespan, realized that he is not only subjugated by the Titans but also the outside world as a whole, and the founding Titan's powers essentially broke his psyche. I think it's safe to say the world of Attack on Titan sucks, especially for Eren. It's almost as if the world actively resists Eren's pursuit of freedom. So, to retaliate against these extreme forces, Eren envisions a twisted form of freedom, achieved only through extreme measures. Now, don't get me wrong, despite any attempt at legitimizing Eren's actions, the rumbling is objectively immoral and an irredeemable act. However, it's heavily suggested that peaceful approaches wouldn't be effective within this narrative. Like, at no point was Eren going to walk over to Marley and say,
"Come on, I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you."
That's just not feasible within the context of this story. As Erwin said, humans will continue to fight one another until the day there's one human or less. And the resolution of Attack on Titan's story reaffirms this by revealing the fleeting nature of peace and the unending cycle of war and hatred. Ultimately, when it comes to characters like Eren, you don't need to support their actions to admire them. Whether a character's actions are fueled by a sense of justice, anger, or even insanity, they need to be coherent within the world they occupy and/or their experiences within the story. And I think Isayama was able to achieve this with Eren's character. But, as we know, it's not actually the rumbling that caused the greatest rift in Eren's fanbase. And that's what we'll talk about in the last chapter. When talking about why we love Eren, I think it's important to address what people don't love about his character. And for many, it's Eren's final conversation with Armin in the past, and more specifically, his breakdown. Some would argue that this interaction took away from Eren's development into a stoic, iron-willed antagonist, and as a result, tarnishing the image of his character. However, I'm going to discuss this scene not as a detriment to Eren's character, but as an important development for his character arc. First off, realizing that Eren's stoic persona was just a facade was kind of upsetting and may have felt a bit abrupt, but there were signs that Eren was repressing his true feelings throughout Season 4, so I don't think it was unfounded. For example, when Eren broke down in front of Ramsay, or when Sasha died, and even through his self-assurance to keep moving forward. Eren was always suffering, he just didn't show it. But I'm happy he did, because this revelation plays an important role in humanizing Eren's character. For the first time since Season 3, I feel like we got to see the real Eren. Regardless of what persona we prefer, Eren's display of vulnerability is raw. It shows that beneath the facade of the indomitable antagonist, he's still human. He feels, he regrets, and he breaks, just like any of us. With that said, it's still hard to empathize with Eren considering his actions. I think Armin would be the only one who could truly do that. But from the viewer's perspective, we are able to sympathize with him due to his humanization, or at the very least, feel some level of pity for the enormous burden he carries. To provide context on why I think humanizing Eren matters, let's watch the scene when Armin witnesses Eren's fate. If not for the preceding conversation, this scene would not be as emotionally impactful. Because of his humanization, we are able to see Eren not as the devil of Paradise, but as a friend, and that hit hard. Now, I want to focus on Eren's breakdown and address his comments about Mikasa, because it was this scene in particular that generated the most contempt for his character. You think eradicating 80% of humanity would do it, but nope. However, I don't think this scene is as bad as people make it out to be. Despite Eren saying he wants Mikasa to love him and think about him long after his death, this isn't what he expressed to her. Instead, he whipped out Cabin Eren, rizzed her up, and told her to move on. Armin was just a shoulder to cry on. It was one friend venting to another. And that wasn't the main focus of the breakdown either. Eren later explains that he truly wants Mikasa to be happy. He just wishes that he could live on with her, Armin, and the rest of his friends. But he knows his death is imminent, and that's not something he would deserve in the first place. All things considered, the whole incel simp argument really oversimplifies and misrepresents Eren's character. This breakdown is the result of a broken mind, isolation, the fear of death, and being forgotten by those left behind. And although some may not like it, this is Eren Yeager, at the core. So why do we love Eren? Well, he experiences amazing character development throughout the series by breaking the shonen mold, becoming a morally ambiguous, multifaceted character, and as a result, orchestrating some of the most intense, unpredictable, and memorable moments in anime. On top of that, his development and actions, although controversial, are believable due to the adversity he's faced in a cruel world that actively prevents his attainment of freedom. Despite this, he keeps moving forward, maintaining a stoic and iron-willed facade until his goal is achieved. Although this facade shatters, his weakness, regret, and deep love for his friends provides his character a sense of relatability due to his struggle with the human experience. And most importantly, he's got cool hair and a great set of abs. All in all, Eren Yeager is one of the most intriguing and dynamic characters in the history of anime, and that's why we love Eren. Well, that's the end of the video. There's so much more to say about Eren Yeager, so feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. We'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and left a like on the video, because this won't be the last time we talk about the characters from Attack on Titan. Speaking of, check out our video on why we love Levi. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.